All right, my name is Dave from Black Leadership Analysis. And I wanted to talk for a second about the article I read on Drake today. It's about Drake and his father. And the article was about how Drake is always talking about in his songs how his father was a deadbeat. And so his father actually, in the article, it was an interview article, and he actually said he confronted Drake about this because, Larry Graham was there for his kid. I believe Larry Graham is his name. Like 90% sure. And Drake just simply said, "Go with the flow, Dad, it sells records." I think that's really a horrible thing to say to your dad, especially Drake's dad. Because a lot of young people don't really know this, but Drake's dad was the drummer for a band called Graham Central Station. And they were really big in the 70s as a funk soul band. And Drake's uncle was the leader of the band. So once people started listening to soul and funk music less, his dad had to go get another job. So he actually drummed for Jerry Lee Lewis when he did a show in Toronto. And that is how Drake's dad met his mom. And so Drake would spend summers with his dad in Memphis. And for those, a lot of you probably don't realize, Memphis has a long history in soul music through Stax Records. So a lot of Drake's cultural indoctrination was done in Memphis with Memphis soul music. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's such a good musician now, such a popular musician now, because he has that in his lineage, and lineage does matter. So the reason why Drake got his first record deal, it was through Jay Prince of Rap-A-Lot. And Rap-A-Lot is a Texas rap company. And Jay Prince was actually a big fan of Graham Central Station, and that's how the mixtape of Drake got in front of Jay Prince. And so ultimately his dad is ultimately responsible for his entire record career. So to come back and talk about how he still owes child support from 1991 in songs and, insinuate that he was a deadbeat or he wasn't there is just a really horrible thing to do to his dad. And it's also just simply not true. I mean, if his dad did owe money, did he owe money simply because he was a struggling musician trying to keep soul music alive in the 90s? So, I mean, I think really Drake was really out of line with that. I think he needs to really set the record straight on who his dad was and who his family is. He actually comes from a strong line of a community of strong black men in Graham Central Station that are an institution in soul music, especially Memphis soul music. So, I was just thinking about my own dad, and I also want to give a shout out to him because he was a great father. He was in the house with me all the time. He was married to my mom. A lot of people think black men don't ever marry the women they have kids with, but my dad was married to my mom and everything, and he did what he's supposed to do. Not only did he take care of his family responsibilities, but he also was big in civic organizations when I was young. So my dad did a lot of good stuff. When he was a kid, he actually led a walkout in high school. And I'm actually going to write a blog post about that eventually. I just got to get all the paperwork and all the articles together so I can write a proper blog article. But I think that we spend way too much time bashing black men. And I think we need to spend a lot more time celebrating black men, celebrating our dads, and speaking highly of our fathers. So I want everybody who watches this video to comment below something positive about their dad. Because there's no reason why you can't say something positive about your dad. And I understand if they were there, definitely talk about that. But even if they weren't there, they probably did the absolute best they could with what they had. I'm thinking about Drake's dad's situation. He's out here, he's trying to blend a southern family from Memphis with a upper middle class Jewish family from Toronto. And that had to have put a strain on that relationship. And, he still did the best he could. And he was there with his son, came down to Memphis to see him. And a lot of the reason that Drake was able to navigate these situations in the rap industry is because he had that background as, you know, a Southern black person. You know, he was in Memphis. He grew up there for a little bit. So he was able to deal with Lil Wayne and Baby and all these other rappers he's collaborating with. He couldn't do that without any kind of cultural context. And I think we need to really thank Drake's dad for that. And I think Drake should really rethink how he presents his dad to the media, because black men need image rehabilitation right now. I mean, there's a lot of just negative stereotypes about us that have been there the whole time, but they're still there now. And Drake really could be a force trying to change it. And a lot of you are going to say that, well, hip-hop always portrays a negative portrayal of black men. And that might be true to some extent, but he still owes his father more than that. And I think it's important to understand, you know, the kind of person Drake is, you know, before you really celebrate him or, you know, buy a lot of his records and whatnot. So that's all I got to say.